What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to do a video piggybacking off of one of my old videos. I said about a week ago that my bold prediction was that Trump election odds have hit rock bottom. I want to change this prediction a little bit. I will admit that something that a lot of politicians don't like to do, something that a lot of other people don't like to do, I will admit that I am wrong. Trump's election odds in this video obviously had not hit rock bottom. The evidence is right here. So I think in the video, Trump was about at a 40% chance to win. Right now, he's at a 36% chance. And this is just using the election odds. If we looked on Predict It, pretty similar results. I think that when I had done this prediction before, if it will even show up, Trump's election odds were at like 45 cents. I think right now there's as low as 39 to 40 cents. It changes every now and then. And if we look at our model, I think last time we had it at about 21% chance Trump was going to win. Right now it is at 13% chance. So just to kind of explain myself, in my defense, I said that the betting odds and the election odds could be a little bit delayed. We haven't seen a ton of polling that has been worse for Trump since that CNN poll, the famous CNN poll that had Trump down 14 points. We've seen a Fox News poll, I think, that had him down 12 points. So maybe having these more polls kind of confirm that this 14% number that Biden is up by is not an outlier. However, I just wanted to ask kind of my subscribers, like, what do you think Trump's rock bottom is if it's not now? Because if we look at this model right here, we see that right now Biden is in the lead in terms of percent chance he's going to win the state of Iowa and even the state of Georgia. Now, this surprises me very much because in 2016, obviously, Trump won Iowa by, I think, almost 10 points and Georgia by 7 points. And while, like, Iowa is a state that voted for Barack Obama twice. So, like, I get that if Biden has the same, can get the same energy that Barack Obama did in 2008 and 2012 and get that Obama coalition. However, I think Trump is just upended politics. He has this distinct appeal to kind of the working class white voters, kind of his base, which Iowa does. Just looking at the demographics, there are a lot of these voters here. So frankly, I still personally think that Donald Trump has an advantage in a state like Iowa, but the state of Iowa isn't going to matter if Biden just sweeps the Rust Belt, the states that Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, Arizona and Florida, and even North Carolina. I did a video about this earlier. All Biden needs to do is win Florida and one state in the Rust Belt, or win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Like, there are more paths for a Biden victory right now than a Trump victory. It's going to be a lot harder for Trump to hold on to states like I say that Trump won in 2016. Right now, he only has an 8% chance of winning. I mean, this is astounding. And I mean, I trust this model to a degree. I don't think it's factoring in some elements that I think could help Trump. Like, for example, like a state like Iowa and a state like Georgia, they have Biden up in this model. But when we ask kind of the people, like in this Predict It, which factors in people's opinions and like what they're going to bet on, they still have Georgia as a lean Republican and Iowa as a lean Republican. But still, I mean, like right now for the Trump campaign, they're spending money in states like Iowa and Georgia to try to defend them, when they could be pouring all their money into states like Wisconsin and Arizona, where really that is the states that they want to be focused on. They don't want to waste their time and energy on states that they really should have. So one thing that I thought was pretty interesting is looking at this map. I thought it was very similar to the 2016 map that famously was very, very wrong. See, we see the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the same shade of blue as it was in the 538 model right before the election. In fact, so Trump had a 21% chance of winning in Michigan in 2016. Right now, in this model, it's as low as 8%. It just went down to 7.6%. I mean, this is really unbelievable. I don't think anyone would have predicted this 4 or 5 months ago when the stock market was doing great before the coronavirus was hitting. Everyone thought that Trump was going to win re-election despite his scandals, his divisiveness, because the economy was doing so well. And we've had like time after time, people do vote on the economy. Do I have more money in my wallet? Is my retirement fund getting bigger? Is the stock market going up? These are the questions that people ask. So in Trump's defense, I think there are a few factors that could help him come November. So I do think that the economy is going to recover right now. The economy is in shambles right now, and it has maybe improved marginally as places that have started to open up, but it's going to close back down again. So I think that Trump's poll numbers maybe even could go down a little bit further than they are right now. However, by November, I think that the economy is going to improve and things could be opened back up. In fact, I think Trump could time this exactly right. In that the economy starts to open up maybe September, October, then right coming into election day, people realize that they're happier compared to what they were when they were in quarantine and stuff. So maybe this could improve. But also, I'm kind of grasping at straws, trying to find ways that like maybe you can look at the bright side, because right now it's just looking very dismal for Trump. There was this article in The Hill, which does tend to be a right-leaning newspaper. And it was basically this idea, are Trump supporters punking the polls? This was a very surprising article when I saw the headline, because I'd never even heard of this before. We've heard of the shy Trump voters in 2016. This definitely probably affected how pollsters got their data. Basically, the idea that the shy Trump voter, and it's also people call it the Bradley effect, which I can explain later. But it's basically the idea that when people were asked on polls if they supported Donald Trump, they would either say that they were undecided or that they didn't support him just because in polite company, Donald Trump is not someone like who you just want to be like rah rah Trump just because in like social settings, it's probably like most people just kind of think of him as a rude, brash guy. So I think that makes sense. But what this article is saying is that like maybe some of the Trump supporters, when they hear a call from the CNN polling companies, they're going to try to trick them. I thought that this argument was it could be true. There could be some people that do this, but in my experience, the people who support Donald Trump are not very quiet about it. Like they do want to express that they support the president, and they aren't necessarily that scared to do that. I do think that these polls should not be taken as gospel. I do not think that Joe Biden's going to win by 14 points, but I do think that this is something to consider. And this could maybe explain why we've seen some very, very skewed polls, like Joe Biden winning by 17 points in the state of Michigan, for example. So I think that's very interesting. And then one other piece of evidence that might be a little bit encouraging for the Trump campaign, just to kind of play devil's advocate, because everyone seems to think that the Trump campaign is doing very poorly, which they are, I think, is basically the fact that a lot of the people who have been following this race have not changed their electoral map. So if we look at these models where it has like in the polls where it has Joe Biden up by 12, 15, 16, 17 points in the state of Michigan, you would never assume that Michigan would be a toss-up. However, still in the CNN electoral map, in the Real Clear Politics electoral map, they still have Michigan as a toss-up. So this goes to show that while people might think that, oh, like right now Joe Biden is having a distinct advantage, they're not so sure if this is going to remain until November when people go to cast their ballots. There still is a lot of room to change. And like based on the real quick politics, Matt, the race is still wide open. Definitely Trump has a lot more room or a lot more work to do than Joe Biden does in terms of winning over these states like Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, Texas, holding these states, and then trying to grow his support in states like North Carolina, Florida, Arizona, Wisconsin.